Hi, everybody. Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
This is November bingo, but this is also a special week, isn't it, David? It is WikiTree Week
Tree week.
2024, and we couldn't put everything in one day, so it's a week. So welcome to this is the third bingo this week that we have going on. So, David, what is this bingo about?
This bingo is about, excuse me just one moment here.
It's a
This
fun
bingo,
one, too.
pardon?
It's a really fun one.
It's a fun one and it's a big one. Um, this one is called It's All in the Name. And these are individuals. I don't know if, did you put the link up yet,
I did.
Sandy? Okay, the link is up. You can go there. These are all items or things that are named after people. And we have 67 of them, which is huge for a bingo.
It is. Normally we have about 50, so that is huge.
But each object or item is linked to the individual's profile for whom it was named. Sometimes it's the inventor, and sometimes it's just a random person that happened to be in the right place at the right time to get to get something named for them. So we'll go through a few of them and tell you some interesting stories. This one was a little different in preparing because a lot of the people are not really well known. Their items are all really well known. I'll be surprised. Well, okay, I'm going to go off on tangent here. I'm going to ask, as we go through each item, if you're not from the United States, I'd like to know if you've ever heard of some of these items. There's some brand names and some food items and that I'm curious if people outside the United States know. But everything on this list is going to be a household word for those of us in the United States. But not all of these people were famous. So in order to put this together, I actually had to go in and find these people in census records or immigration records. I would generally, often their name might be in a Wikipedia article, sometimes with dates, sometimes without. But then if I Googled it, I could find a newspaper article that gave a little more information. And with that, I could go in and typically find them in, if not in census records, the second most common place for me to find them was in Find a Grave. And once I got the names and dates in Find a Grave, then I could go back and find birth certificates and that kind of thing. So because I don't generally use Find a Grave as a source in and of itself, but it certainly is great for giving clues to send us back to the vital records, census records, etc.
So it's important to know, I think, because you know that we do tend to bring you the notables, as David said, but these were just too fun to leave off. So whether they're notable or not, we have a couple people that are new to the bingo. So I'm just gonna pause real quick and say just drop the first bingo card in. And whenever you guys are comfortable, go ahead and click on that bingo card. If you have two monitors or if you have a phone and a monitor or phone, however you want to do it, so you can see the bingo card. And we always call out the bingo words, but we'll get to more details in a moment. But just know that the bingo card is in the chat, as well as, and I'll do this one more time, the page that we are going to show you right now, the bingo page. And let me expand this just a little bit. I think there you go. So it's all in a name. And I will tell you, so how, this is kind of interesting how it starts. So David and I plot and plan and think and everything. We talk a great deal about what we're going to do for bingo. We just don't like, oh, let's just go out and throw some of these names up there and put it up there. We actually kind of think of a theme well in advance. We have the themes pretty much worked out. And David creates this wonderful space page and table in the names. And then I kind of grab them and I create the bingo cards and we talk about what we're going to showcase. Well, how did It's in a Name came about is last October, 23, I was in Pittsburgh and I was staying at a bed and breakfast, and the owners are like, "You want to go walk around and see the Jones Mansion?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, sure. Don't know what that is. Rather see like the Carnegie Mellon Mansion or something in Pittsburgh." And he goes, "No, no, 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 no. You've always heard, haven't you heard? Keeping Up with the Jones." So I was like, "Oh." Come to find out, those Jones aren't the ones that created that phrase, but Pittsburgh Jones assumed it and pretended like it was. But David and I were talking about it, and that's how we came up with this idea. So let's go ahead and show you just a couple of them before we play the first bingo card. This is just going to be really fun. We can go through a whole bunch of them too. So the one that I thought that we'd go with, David, is Sylvester Graham, the one that has the most CC7?
Yes, Sylvester Graham is the most CC7s, and that's 38,000. On the flip side of what I was saying earlier about some of these people being rather obscure, I was really amazed at how many of these people already had profiles.
Really?
And how humongous their CC7s were. For example, Sylvester Graham. Graham was I believe he was a doctor. He was definitely a scientist and a minister who used to teach or preach about healthy lifestyle. And he invented something called Graham flour, with which he made graham crackers. And they were, I believe, they were manufactured by was it the National Biscuit Company?
There might be but he was put in a book. So the Reverend took on vegetarianism and abstinence as well. So next time you eat a graham cracker, think about being a vegetarian and being abstinent, I guess. I mean, that's kind of funny how it comes about, but it says that he also had a Grahamite movement. So it is boarding houses that cater to his recommendations. So it's kind of like a health kind of movement, it sounds like, right, David?
Yeah, it says his ideas became known as Grahamites, and they created boarding houses that catered to living a healthy lifestyle. So those were his followers were, I believe, called Grahamites. But it's interesting that I don't think anybody that's witnesses me sitting down and munching on a box of graham crackers would call me a health nut. But,
no, I wouldn't either, especially if it's in a cheesecake full of butter, graham cracker crumbs as well. I mean, I don't know. I thought this was really interesting. And then Kellogg's started putting the grains in their cereal.
Kellogg also started as kind of a health nut. He was real into healthy living, and his cereals were intended to promote that.
So it's kind of cool. It just real quick, this has nothing to do with bingo or what we're talking about, but you'll notice this little suggestions as a WB option that's fairly new. Some of you might already know it. So green means there's no errors, but if there were errors, there would be red, and you could click on it and see the errors, so you don't have to go into the profile. But look at this, 38,000, and he is 17 degrees from me. I tend not to have a lot of people I connect to from Connecticut and Massachusetts. That's close. So he's pretty far from me. Okay, let's go to the next one. And David had a list. He wanted to show these. So Amelia Bloomer.
So Amelia Bloomer, this is an interesting one. If you are a historian of women's liberation, Amelia Bloomer was a feminist. She lived in the 1800s, and she published a newspaper. And that newspaper used to sell ads for what were called what have come to be called bloomers, but those were basically early pants for women. And because again she was a feminist, she was promoting moving away from the restrictive corsets and dresses and hoops and all the things that they used to have to wear, and basically allowing women to start wearing pants. And those became bloomers because they were first advertised in Amelia Bloomer's newspaper.
I'm curious, does anybody still call them bloomers? I think little girls. We call them bloomers for little girls mostly. Okay, let's go to the next one. You guys are gonna laugh at this one. You guys are gonna. Oh, wait. Is it Benedict? Is that right, David?
Yeah,
you guys are gonna laugh. So, Benedict. And this would be, of course, Eggs Benedict. And I was like, I don't know why I always thought Benedict Arnold was Eggs Benedict, but no.
You know, we do that with a few things. It's not on our list, but we have, or it's not on the list that we're presenting today, but Caesar salad is also on our roster of notables this time. And Caesar salad, I always thought was named after Julius Caesar. But in fact, it was named after the Caesar brothers.
Let me go back real quick. So yeah, Lisa, bloomers are kind of old-fashioned underwear. First, as David said, they started more as pants, and then, but we really used to call them bloomers for little girls. You know, especially if you had like diapers and you had to get those little bit bigger ones. Those are what bloomers are to me. But okay, so not Benedict Arnold, but this gentleman came up with the classic
Lemuel Benedict. So Lemuel Benedict, this is one of those people that just happened to be in the right place at the right time. He was a Wall Street broker. So you wouldn't think a Wall Street broker would have an egg breakfast named after him, but he happened to be passing through, I believe it was the Waldorf Hotel in New York, and he ordered some buttered toast, crisp bacon, and 2 poached eggs with a hooker of hollandaise sauce. And the hotel chef was so impressed by the concoction that he pulled together that he started making it regularly and selling it there at the Waldorf, rather. And he named it after Mr. Benedict, who happened to be passing through on his way to the office one day. And to this day, we still refer to that as Eggs Benedict.
Do you eat them, David? Do you like Eggs Benedict?
I have had them. It's not that I don't like them. It's just not top of my list.
I mean, what about you guys in chat? Is this something that you like? And I'm seeing different versions. Like there's the Canadian bacon and smoked salmon as well. My son and husband, there's a little breakfast diner, and they put it in a kind of more of a bowl. They will order this day in, day out because it comes with spicy Cajun sausage. So there's a whole different things. And yes, thank you. Eggs Benny. That's how I know them. Okay, and Carrie, what we do is we talk about who is on the bingo space page first, and then when we bring up the bingo card, trust me, you'll recognize it.
Yeah. So right now, just watch, and then when the game starts, we'll let you know.
This is kind of like the fun part for Dave and I, because we get to talk about everything we share. Because when we're looking at these and creating these throughout the month, we're like, oh, look at this. Oh, this guy's funny. That guy's.
Well, there's a few purposes for showing this. One is just to share the fun stories, but it's also, with some of these, it's to give you examples of what a really well done profile is going to look like. And on the flip side, there are some that need a lot of work. So there is a, we have our list, our roster of notables that you can work on after the show and try to make connections, get their CC7s up, or just improve their profiles. Some of these I've just created. You see, if it's got my name as the profile manager, that means I created them this week. So they're not going to have a lot of biographical information. But if they, if they've been around a while, they may or may not be fully developed. So you just kind of have to check and see.
And just so everybody knows, you can work on notables. I'm just going to say deceased notables at this point because that's all we show in bingo.
Yeah, we don't.
It's just easier. So you can, and as David said, he created this one on the 6th of November. And look, there's a new, thank you to Ian with WikiTree browser extension. There's a new little box. This is unconnected branch, but also how many of you do the connectors challenge every month? This would be an interesting one to do next month because you've got to wait till the following month of the profile creation to do connectors. But this little guy up here, it tells me he's also not connected. And if you do connect them in, say, the next 10 minutes, that little guy's going to stay there for a while. It takes like overnight to get rid of them. But this is a perfect example of what David's saying. He just created it. This guy needs connected and an unconnected branch.
And when I'm creating profiles for bingo or other challenges that I do not add family members. I just create the profile and I leave that up to the members to come in and add the family members. So some of these will be real easy to connect. The fact that they're not connected doesn't mean that there was that they were difficult. It just means that's not what I do when I create the profiles.
Now that we kind of hoping you guys will help us out.
I get the profile up there and then we turn to you guys to do it. And Anne is actually correct. This is Samuel German, the namesake of the German chocolate cake. The German chocolate cake is not German. And in fact, Mr. German was not German. He was English and lived in the United States. And I thought I had a biography put in. Usually I'll put a little paragraph for the biography. This one I must have overlooked it. But Mr. German was worked at a bakery, and he invented some sort of unique chocolate that his superiors then used to make cake, and that has ever since become known as German chocolate cake. And as the cake became more popular, Mr. German actually got promoted all the way up to lead baker. But he was just an everyday guy earning a living who happened to stumble across something that took off.
I love it. I love German chocolate cake. I'll eat it. I'll pick it over a lot of other cakes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go ahead and...
Yeah, we just had... I made a German chocolate cake for Oktoberfest.
Oh, did you?
I didn't know that it wasn't German.
But it had the word German in it.
It had the word German.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do the first bingo card. And to do that, let me bring up the rules from let everybody know what's going on. So for bingo, I dropped the link again on the chat. Bring that bingo card up, and a person can only win one prize every 6 months and only one prize per household every 6 months. That includes any prize that you might have won on WikiTree, including the thons, the door prizes, the bingo, things like that. So if you received any type of free prize from WikiTree in the past 6 months, you are not eligible to win tonight, but still play along because it's really fun. I have dropped also a couple times the prize list. If your name is on that prize list, that usually means you're not eligible, because we try to take the names off as soon as you are eligible. Sometimes we're not super quick. It might take a day or so. So if you got a question about it, let us know. Bingo's open to everybody. Anybody can play. You don't have to be a WikiTree member, so anybody can play. Bring your niece, bring your nephew, bring your granny, bring your neighbors, bring anybody you would like to bring to play bingo, or have them sit at their house and play bingo. That's perfectly fine too. There are 2 bingo games per time slot, and I'm going to pause real quick and let everybody know that there are only 2 more bingo sessions left for the remainder of the year after this. That will be in December. So 4 chances left to win a prize. And how do you play bingo? So if you notice in the middle, there should be a logo with the word name in it. Go ahead and click that with your mouse, touch it with your finger. If you got a touchpad, that's a free space. And you win by getting all the words either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. You do not need to fill out the whole card. And I don't know if you won bingo until you yell it at me. So does anybody want a demo? I see our German friend, speaking of German, is not here. He normally yells it as an example. So if 5 of you win bingo at the same time, whoever types it in the chat first is the winner. And never close your bingo card. If somebody says they're a winner, never close your bingo card. And I will give you a great example. Earlier today, Mel had won and she offered to keep playing so the next person could win. So that was very nice. That was very cool. So, yep, there we go. Thank you, ladies. There we go. And the prize is usually a mug. We love our mugs. David, what mug do you have?
Today I'm just using the Genealogy mug
from WikiTree, and we'll tell you how to get the mug as well. So here we go. Let's go ahead and start. And as you know, that we will kind of talk about who the names are. So Louis Braille.
And it doesn't take much to you probably guessed most of these. Louis Braille, the inventor of Braille writing for the blind.
And we did talk about
Lemuel Benedict.
So, next time you guys go into a restaurant and you create your own meal, tell them to name it after you. That seems to be a popular thing, especially with what we're doing. And George Washington Gale Ferris Jr. And guess what? He's an Appalachian. I'm going to guess he created the Ferris wheel.
He created the Ferris wheel.
And I agree. That was very nice of Mel to do that last bingo. That was really cool. And Tommy got to play. Okay, so Joku, you have Ferris wheels, but I think you don't have graham crackers where you live. I think I got that right.
Who are you referring to?
Joku. Okay. This was interesting too.
This was one that surprised me, and it was right after Sandy came up with the Jones's idea. The first thing I discovered was that Alzheimer's is named after an actual person, Dr. Alzheimer. And I'm not sure how I would feel about that if I was Dr. Alzheimer.
I agree. I mean, your name is going to be forever linked.
You're famous, but I have a feeling most doctors appreciate having their name out there, though. But
lots of research, goes into it. So you do want that recognized. I agree. Lots of diseases are named after the doctor who discovered them. And I gotta agree. I love my bingo mug too. I don't have it tonight, but I do love my bingo mug. It was the #1 selling mug on WikiTree store. I think it might still be. And I was surprised at this one too. This one surprised me, Anders Celsius.
Yeah, and I was checking. Yeah, he goes way back. He lived in the 1700s. So a lot of these people were, particularly the science-related ones, are named after people who were, back in the classical era of science. Celsius has been. Okay, let's see if anybody can guess this.
I know. And when you talked at the very beginning about, okay, if you have this in your country, this was the first one I thought of.
Oh yeah, so
I don't know why, but I'm like, yeah, this is something in somebody's country.
He's from Italy. Lived in the early 1900s, late 1800s into the early 1900s.
Very close, Darren. Be a little bit more specific. This one, I could actually have this for dinner tonight.
Yeah, Lisa's got it. Alfredo sauce or chicken Alfredo. Alfredo was a restaurateur in Italy. He invented chicken Alfredo because his wife was pregnant and in poor health, and he created it to help her gain her strength back, and then started serving it at his restaurant. And Alfredo's restaurant is still in existence.
Oh, really?
Owned by his family.
Where?
Yeah. It is in let's see if I
we
have
need
it.
to go. In Italy.
It's in Rome. Yeah, it's in Rome.
And this one kind of surprised me, but then I can see it as well. So Rudolph Diesel.
Yeah, so this is a person, again, I'm going to look the dates up here, but he was from the 1800s, and he was
David,
sorry,
when did the guy invent Alfredo sauce? And good thing Chris Ferriolo's not here. Nobody tell Chris that we said OG today. Nobody tell him, because
so let's see here.
I like that. Vin Diesel.
Yeah, so I'm looking up the Alfredo sauce was invented in 1914, same year my grandparents were born. And Diesel, what I remember about him was not so much what he did in terms of his scientific endeavors, but he was lost at sea. He was on a ship and disappeared. And they believe they later found his body in the ocean.
And since we had Celsius, it seems to make sense that we have Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit.
And I can't believe nobody's close to bingo yet.
Yeah, now Fahrenheit lived a couple hundred years before Celsius, Dr. Celsius. He was an engineer and a glass blower, and he invented the thermometer and the scale in order to measure the temperature of his glass blowing. Ambrose Burnside. Some people may know this story already, but
yeah, this one's tricky. So, anybody know Burnside? Is that a dish? Is it a product?
So Ambrose Burnside was a general during the Civil War. I gotta guess what was named for him.
I'll give you guys a hint.
If you ever see a picture of him, which you can if you pull up his profile, you will see he has very bushy. Oh, you want to pull it up?
Let's see. Where's he at?
All the way go down to S.
S. Okay.
Yeah. There he is. There's a picture right there.
So you can see his picture. That's a good guess.
What stands out on this picture?
That's a good guess. So
I think Burnside.
I'm thinking something to do here.
Sideburns. Ann got it. Yeah, he had those bushy sideburns. His name was Burnside. For whatever reason, they switched around, called it Sideburns. Oh, this one I'm going to have to look up. Robert Peel.
Yeah, this one. Oh, yeah, I know this.
Okay,
this has something to do with Bobby. Where's Bobby? This has something to do with a Bobby.
Sir Robert Peel, obviously with the Sir, that tells you he was probably from Europe, and he was from England. And he went by the name Bobby Peel. And John Tyner got it.
Yeah.
Bobbies, the police officers in England are called Bobbies after Sir Robert Peel, who was a big advocate of policing. I believe he created the first police force in England. This was back in early 1800s. He was a prime minister, home secretary, regarded as the father of modern British police force, and as one of the founders of the modern Conservative Party.
If you guys ever saw the show in the U.S. is PBS, but Victoria, he was there. David, where'd your camera go? We lost you.
Camera?
Yeah, we lost you.
Huh.
And then this one should be fairly simple to figure out too. But when David told me this name really early on, Henry Shrapnel. I'm like, I thought somebody in the field just said it's shrapnel. I didn't know it was named after somebody.
Yeah, and what an odd thing to have named after you. But,
I know.
But it was named after Henry Shrapnel, who was a lieutenant general in the English Army. I'm not quite sure why it was named for him. That's something somebody could do some research on.
And again, remember, we want you guys to work on these profiles. Just because we created a table does not mean that you can't touch it. Feel free. And if you work on them during the month or next month or anytime, and you get them connected or get their CC7 up or anything, feel free. Click edit and add it to the table. You don't even need to leave a comment or tell us. Just go ahead and do it.
Yeah, the page with the table is editable by anybody. So now somebody guessed this previously.
Yeah, for Burnside.
Guess it again this time.
And Robert Bunsen. Ah, what a magical time, Darren. I am so glad that you won bingo. And David, we still don't have your camera.
Yeah, I was gonna log off and on as we finish this. So why don't I do that right now?
And I will tell you, congratulations, Darren. And the reason why is also let me give you. You're going to email Eowyn and let her know that you won bingo. But the really cool reason too why Darren won, he works with the Global Project, and his logo there that you see is the Global Project mug. But a little later on, in about 2.5 hours, the New Zealand project is kicking off WikiTree research parties. There we go. So that's really, really cool. So congratulations, Darren. That's pretty cool. Okay, so let's bring up the page again. And, well, Darren, do you have the global mug already? That's my question I want to know. And I'm going to bring up the page one more time. I'm going to drop the link for the second bingo card as we just go through a few more.
2 quick comments from yes, it is Bunsen, not Bunsun, S-E-N, not S-O-N. So that was a typo. And people that were asking about German chocolate cake, it sounds like outside of America, people don't know German chocolate cake. But basically, FYI, it's actually more the frosting that's what makes it the German chocolate cake. It's a chocolate cake with a coconut pecan frosting. And I don't know that the cake itself necessarily has to have anything special, but it's the frosting that makes it German chocolate. And
also, and you guys correct me in chat because I know I have 3 that are going to be in the research party. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern, so not too long from now. 2.5 hours will kick off the official kickoff of the research parties and the official kickoff of New Zealand's research party, which is on Discord. So keep that in mind, and thank you, Darren. That's pretty cool that you have that. I'm going to drop the bingo card number 2 in the chat. Okay, you wanted to talk about Guppy?
Oh, well, that was just one that I thought was one I never would have realized was named after somebody. But there was an actual person named, I'm not sure exactly how he pronounces his name, but it's Lechmer, Lechmere. Robert John Lechmer Guppy went by the name Lechmer. And he was a naturalist. And he did a lot of research in the West Indies. And it is he who is the guppy is named after.
So who of you have fish as a pet? Because the other thing I'm going to mention is on G2G this month is that we do the 12 months of photos, and it's pets. So who has fish as a pet? You, David, you used to, right?
Well, we just lost our fish last month. He passed away suddenly without warning. He was a betta fish.
Do you take fish to a vet?
Well, I suppose if you've got money to spare. I don't know.
Fish vet? I just thought about that. I was
like, there are. I don't know if a regular vet, but there are aquarium
type of vet.
Type vets, yeah.
And here's a good example. This is that I want to show suggestions. You see that little red one? It must be one error. And I have a Wikidata double entry duplicate, very easy to fix. But that's kind of cool. You used to have to go into the edit and see it, but now you can see if profile has any errors on it. And
Jules Leotard is a repeat for us.
I know. I was surprised. Yeah. And how was he a repeat?
He was in our circus.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of fun with the circus one and the bozo one. We've had a lot of fun with those as well. So if you like to research in France, this would be a really good one. And you notice that a little bit more sources in bio. If you would like to put some of the information in French and some in English, that would be even more amazing. So that's kind of a cool one as well. Okay, and then who do we have next? I know this one, and I'll tell you why I know this one. Because David created the baseline just like he did here for Jules. So he created just a really, really basic baseline. And then when David was doing the 15 for 15 tour, I jumped in and said, okay, let me help. And it's completely clueless, by the way, on how to do it. And I found, of course, a military one. And I go, I can figure this out. And why Murphy? Why Edward?
So Murphy is the namesake of Murphy's Law. Murphy's Law basically says if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. The interesting thing about that, though, is that today we kind of we miss the intended message. So we say it kind of as a doom and gloom sort of saying, anything can go wrong, it's going to go wrong. What he intended that to mean was be prepared. If anything can go wrong, it will, so you need to be prepared. He was a military man, believed very much in preparedness, and preached that as a warning rather than as a motivator.
I was going to say, yeah, not something to sit back and just wait for it to happen. He was like, no, don't wait. And
he was an aerospace engineer, so he worked on planes. And you make a mistake on a plane, you don't prepare for something on an airplane. You're gonna
Very true. Yeah. That's definitely true. And we have another Murphy, and I'm going to go ahead and give Dee credit for Donna the credit for this one.
Yeah, we need to correct his first name spelling. There's a typo there. So yes, Donna got this one. This one is the Murphy bed. So this was an interesting story. So William Murphy was born in California in the early 1800s. His father was actually a 49er. Those were the people that came from back east in search of gold during the gold rush. And so this is pretty early on. And he fell in love with a young opera singer, developed a crush on her, and wanted to invite her over to his home. But back then, he lived in a single little apartment or hotel room. It was one room. And back then, you couldn't have a woman over into your bedroom. So what he did was invent this Murphy bed that folded up into a bookshelf or whatever it was designed as, so that you couldn't see the bed, and turned his little room into a parlor during the day so he could entertain his lady friend, and then back into a bedroom at night so that he could sleep. And that's how we got the Murphy bed.
I always thought as a kid they are the coolest things ever. Never
I,
slept in one. Have you? Has anybody slept in a Murphy bed, or was it in your house growing up or your house now? I mean, I always thought they were cool. And the fold away beds, that's a good way of putting it. But this is a different in culture, I think, in terminology. A fold away bed to me is one of those things that has a spring and wheels, and you fold it up and it's uncomfortable as all get out, as opposed to the Murphy bed that goes into the wall and usually looks like a really nice wow, a lot of people haven't heard of it.
in modern times, they look like it could be a bookcase or it could be a desk.
Let's see if I can bring this up. There we go. So
Yeah.
what's going to happen is this bed's going to fold up into the wall, and then you bring it down. So a lot of people would have them in like a spare bedroom or a
In their
rec
guest
room.
room. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you only have guests, a couple times a year, for the rest of the year, you can use it as an office or den. And then when company comes, it turns into an actual bedroom.
And this one's kind of cool because it does have that office, as you mentioned. So it's interesting. And I imagine, I mean, now you're not, but I imagine you could probably make it yourself somehow too if you're really handy. This one surprised me, David. This is the big shocker for me through all of them.
So this is
and look at the date.
1650. Now, how would you pronounce that first name? Joachim?
Yeah, that's how I do.
Joachim Neander. So Joachim Neander was a hymnal writer. He wrote hymns, and he eventually became the namesake of Neanderthal man.
I mean, that's just
how do we get from being a hymn writer to having the Neanderthal man named after him? Well, it's what I found with several of these is that it was kind of a process where he was so popular in the valley that he lived in that they eventually named the valley after him, and it's called the Neander Valley now. And that is where the first bones of Neanderthals were located. So they were actually named after the valley, but the valley in turn was named after
him. So we've had a couple global here. We've had France, we've had Italy, we have German. So if anybody is working in those areas or those projects, please jump in and work on.
What fascinates me with this one, though, is I often wonder if he were to come, forward in time through a time machine or something and know that Neanderthals were named after him. Here he is, a little songwriter living in some valley, not minding his own business. And 200 years later, he's a household word.
But he was a simple hymn writer, probably. So that's kind of. This is going to be. It's in Germany. It says in the German state of North Rhine, about 12 kilometers east of Dusseldorf. So kind of cool too. And we did Burnside, but I think we've got one more to go before we do the bingo card. And then I've got some news to share with everybody towards the end. And you're going to like all the news that we get to share. So, Tootsie, I think I can guess this one.
Yeah, Clara Hirschfeld, later Clara Ludwig, went by the nickname Tootsie.
And that's
how yes. She was actually this item was named by her father, who was a candy maker, and he named his candy after his daughter, and it has ever since been known as the Tootsie Roll.
I love them. I will, foolishly just unwrap them and eat them, and, you know, 80 later in the next 5 minutes, so I've ate too many. So it's and Amanda, the one prior, Neander probably should be Germany, but again, we just create a basic one. Sometimes we have more time to
Yeah.
flesh them out, sometimes we don't, and with WikiTree week coming up, David and I are both on the events committee. So with the presentations, the symposium, we got a little busy. Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
Right,
and
Donna, we eat them.
we got 67 names this time, so that's just an example of oversight where I was
They don't
apparently.
have Tootsie Rolls in Australia.
And that's why I was going to ask that. Do they have Tootsie Rolls?
It's like a little chocolate taffy almost, Oh, yeah, I gotta agree. Well, we got them in Canada. Lisa has them. And yeah, you're right. The Halloween candy and I remember they used to just be chocolate, but now they have different flavors. I
Yeah,
cannot
we have
stand
different
the vanilla
flavors.
ones. The
And we
vanilla ones.
also have Tootsie Pops.
Yeah. Oh, no Tootsie Rolls. Another ones either. This is shocking. Shocking to me. And John, not in Ireland either? And Darren goes, I've heard of them. I mean, do you guys have the Tootsie Roll Pops? The lollipops?
Tootsie Roll might want to consider
Yeah.
branching out a little bit.
I mean, because once you have them, they're pretty addictive. Okay, so let's go ahead.
They're really tiny, so they're not fattening.
And Mel, this is exactly why I don't work on German profiles. I send them to the Germany project, and sometimes they send them right back to me and tell me to do my own work, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're really kind and educate me on it, but I tend not to go outside my wheelhouse. So that's another reason why sometimes you might not see the locations, but keep in mind that after the bingo, we always put it on the connector project page so everybody can work on it. And we also try and get some of the trickier ones to the projects so they can work on it or include it in one of their future monthly connectors that they've got going on. Okay, let me bring up the rules again one more time. Just a reminder, if you've already won with bingo, you can't win again, or anybody in your household can't win again, so send it to your neighbor. I didn't say that. One mug is usually the prize. There's some other things, but the mugs are pretty cool. Open to everybody to play, and this is the last bingo card and game for the month of November. And as you see, horizontally, vertically, or diagonally, and first person to type in bingo. So I'm just gonna give, I think it's Karen. Karen, let me double check. I think it's Karen that wins or gets bingo, but not fast enough to type it in. There's a trick to that. Feel free to type it in before you play. And that might, let's see, get you the advantage to win. Okay. And don't forget, do not close your card because somebody like Mel earlier today was gracious enough and said, keep playing. A lot of people that cannot win like to play. And they'll enjoy it and tell you how close they are, but they'll say, like Ann does, keep playing. And thank you, Ann, for making sure to let me know that please yell it at me. Say bingo, bingo, bingo. I like this test bingo. That's kind of funny. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started because we've got a couple things to talk about, and we got to get you guys to the next event that you're going to love. So we already talked about Leotard. Guys, we're going to go through this one really quick. We don't normally go through these so quick, but like David said, there were so many good ones this month that we had to do it.
Yeah,
okay.
I just couldn't pare it down any further.
No, but that's great. That gives us
eliminate some.
And then the next one, Mason. I know this one, and I'm waiting for 3 other people in the chat to tell us what Mason is. I'm going to go ahead and move forward. But when I first saw John Landis, I was thinking TV, movie, so Back to the Future, something like that.
And
but
you didn't count the Masons.
Yeah. That's true. Didn't find the Masons, and yep, you guys got it.
Masons are ours.
And as Donna knows, being an Appalachia project, we love our mason jars.
And that's basically an example of a product being named after a person.
And John McIntosh, he has, I think, a really large CC7 too. And this one should be easy one. This is going to be the apples.
Yeah. And again, I think it's fascinating that if he were alive today or came back in time, he'd have computers named after him. He'd have no idea how that happened. He was an apple grower.
And I love it too. So yep, this
is an obvious one.
Yeah, this one is interesting. I guess that they added the ETA, so poinsettia to it.
Well, yeah, and I found that with several of the flowers that we have, it's always added the IA.
IA.
Poinsettia, begonia, gardenia.
And
and there's another example.
Love
macadamia.
Love macadamia nuts. That's another thing. Get Tootsie Rolls, macadamia nuts in a mason jar. Moonshine. There you go. That's a party.
After I read his profile, I did a quick Google search to see how much plane tickets to Hawaii cost.
Are they expensive?
Not as bad as I thought they would be.
Just to get macadamia nuts, right?
Then come right back. All the way in Georgia. I'm already halfway across the country. So
we talked about guppy as well. So we're gonna, and if anybody wants to correct us on the pronunciation, feel free.
That's probably why they didn't call them Lichmers. Okay, here's an interesting one.
Nellie Melba.
Nellie Melba. She was an opera singer. And she used
the only thing I can think of is two things. She's either going to be Peach Melba or Melba Toast.
Yeah, she's Melba Toast. She liked to eat my toast.
I like Peach Melba better. I'm not a fan of Melba
for her throat, I guess.
No. Yep. So, yeah, not a fan. Maverick, Samuel Maverick. Is that a TV show?
So well, Maverick was a TV show, and it was named after Samuel. Maverick is, there's a lot of uses right now. A maverick is somebody that's kind of does his own thing and takes risks, and that's what a Maverick was named after. Samuel Maverick. We now have the Dallas Mavericks.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Maverick TV show, and there's like I said, there's a number of tentacles to the original Maverick word, which basically meant a kind of a risk taker.
And we talked about Captain Edward Murphy. A few of you liked his photograph. I saw what you put in the chat.
Oh, and a lot of these could really use some illustration. So if you can find a photograph on, say, Find a Grave or Ancestry, that would be great. If not, an image of whatever it is they're named after. This one surprised me.
Yeah, I'm going to guess.
You can guess.
Yeah. It might be what I'm having for dinner tonight.
Ignacio Anaya, nicknamed Nacho, invented the nachos in his restaurant. I believe it was in Tijuana. Darren got bingo again.
So is it not? So it's nachos or nacho cheese or both?
It's nachos. It's the dish.
But you can't have nachos without nacho cheese, right, Tally?
We don't use nacho cheese. We use shredded cheddar or Mexicans. And
Pilates.
Joseph Pilates, inventor of Pilates. Now, I was surprised at how early he was.
How early? What?
Let's see. He was born in 1883, died in 1967. I thought that was a new thing.
And Amanda, I think you won bingo.
Amanda, get bingo?
That's pretty cool. Again, why? Because guess where Amanda's going to be tonight? She's going to be in the New Zealand research party. So same thing, Amanda. You're going to go ahead and email Eowyn, at wikitree.com. Let her know that you won the bingo, and congratulations. That's pretty cool that we have the two people that are going to be actively researching for you if you have any questions. And I want to say, if you don't have any ancestors or need to research in New Zealand, there's two reasons why I would show up in that research Discord for New Zealand. Number one, it's really good to learn how to source and how to search in other areas other than your own, because you truly never know when you might need it. But also, these wiki traders are so fun. Their enthusiasm today, I've been watching you guys, and I have not seen a more happier, enthusiastic group than I have in the New Zealand Discord today. They've been working, they've been waiting for people to come in and hang out with them and get to know them, get to know New Zealand, and get to know their profiles as well. They do beautiful, beautiful profiles. So that's really, really cool. So congratulations. Okay.
A real quick comment I want to make, stemming from our earlier conversation. If you come across a profile of a notable that I manage, and you would like to adopt that profile, drop me a little note. Or if your project wants to adopt it, drop me a note, because a lot of these profiles that I create, I intend to take myself off of once we get them up and going, but I don't always get around to doing that. So a lot of times they're available, but particularly if you have a project like this time around, there's a lot of German and French profiles. So if you're with either of those projects and you want to, your project wants to manage them, let me know, and I will add you as either as a co-manager or drop myself off and make you the manager.
Okay, so guys, we've got literally probably 30 seconds, and I've got about 5 minutes worth of information to give you. I'm dropping links in the chat. The Friday night bingo page, definitely go check that out. Yep, December is already up there for Bingo Spaces, which is at noon Eastern. And then the next clue for what Dave and I will be going over for the December 6 p.m. Eastern bingo is there as well. WikiTree Week. If you go to this link, it has all the links for what's going to go on for the rest of tonight. It is jammed packed. Let me tell you, it is just crazy, crazy busy tonight. Go to it's probably happening right now or pretty close to it. If it's not, I will be right there to open up the room, so don't worry. Immediately after this is a cubicle party tonight, and if you need help with DNA on profiles and DNA confirmations, and if you have questions about DNA, definitely check this out. I have found two wiki traders. I haven't really found them. I've known them. They're buddies of mine that are going to be in the Zoom room helping everybody with their DNA confirmations. They are awesome. They are kind. They love talking about DNA, and ask them anything. If they don't know it, they'll tell you, but ask them anything that they have. Also, it's kind of messy message. I'm sorry. At 8 p.m. is the roundup with Awen. Ask Awen. And that's going to be on YouTube. That's going to be the normal type of roundup. Definitely check that out and ask Awen any questions that you guys have. Go to G. Make sure that you tell us what your ethnicity is. Have fun with that as well. In 9 p.m., New Zealand research party starts. They are kicking it off. The next then will be a couple hours later, England. And then we've got a whole list. Research parties all day long tomorrow. So go look at the page I gave you for WikiTree Week. All the links are there for all the parties that are going on tomorrow. I will see you for each and every one, because I will be opening up the Zoom rooms for you. And just added last night, I think it is, there will be a Midnight Madness tonight. This will be kind of the last hurrah. Tomorrow is the end of WikiTree Week, and you will see me, David, Kathy, and Darren at Midnight Madness. And here's the one thing I want to give you real quick. I'm like 1 minute over, but real quick. This starts tomorrow, WikiTree Appreciation Day. So we are appreciating you on Midnight Madness. And if you've been to Midnight Madness, you know that we always ask questions. And we have questions, but we are asking everybody to send Sandy in a DM or an email, however you prefer to do it. Send me privately a question you would like to ask WikiTreeers and have fun with. And I think that's it. So I am headed over to Zoom.
Thumbs up, as Donna reminded us. Give us a thumbs up before you log off.
And again, anybody can work on the page. Feel free, work on the page. There are pages from the past. Don is in here that did Bozo. My gosh, I had so much fun with Bozo, and I didn't think I would. We had brewers. We've had female aviators. We've had a long list of fun ones.
Romance authors.
Oh yeah, we did. We had them all. Jane Austen, anybody? Please.
Wild West.
Please go. Okay, I'm headed over there, Stephen. Let everybody know. Bye, guys.
Good night.